Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, you are kicking it with GFAMunited, a spot that's all about inspiring you to be salt and light. So without further ado, let's make it do what it do. Hit it. What's up, fam? Welcome back. I kid you not, man. I cannot believe in a couple weeks we're about to end 2023 and 2024 is about to kick off. I feel like a broken record when I say it, and I can't believe we're already here. Like, it's crazy. I feel like we just celebrated Christmas, and here we are about to celebrate Christmas and about to enter into a new year. Time flies. But for many people, this is around the time when they start reflecting on this past year. They start thinking about their life. They start thinking about maybe goals that they set in 2023, the start of it. They start thinking about mistakes maybe that they made throughout the years, ways that they maybe fell short. They start thinking about accomplishments, and the list goes on. I think it has a lot to do with just the physical year coming to an end. You naturally start looking to see and looking back on what was. When something comes to an end, naturally you look back on what was, and then you start to reflect on what is. If you're able to just assess your time, like you know how to assess your time, you'll save yourself so much headache and so much heartache, because time determines your outcome. I want to say it again because it's so important. Time determines your outcome, specifically how you use that time. Have you ever asked or said out loud or wished, man, I wish I had more time? You probably said it. I've said it plenty of times. Why? Why do we wish we had more time? It's probably because you weren't satisfied with the outcome, good or bad. And what I mean by that is you could have had an outcome that was so good, but it was so good that you wish you had more time so you could just relish in that moment. And then many of us understand when we say, man, I wish I had more time, it's because we did not like the outcome or the result of something. So we wish we had a little bit more time to put into it so that the result, the outcome would be different. Again, time determines your outcome. As I reflect back on 2023, man, I have to really decide my whether or nots. Whether or not I lived well. So looking back on 2023, I need to decide for myself whether or not I feel that I lived well. Whether or not I excelled. Were there areas in my lives that I was hoping to excel in? Did I? Did I not? Whether or not I grew. I look back over this year and I wonder, man, did I grow? Did I make any real mile markers in my life? Whether or not I achieved. There's just certain goals that I might have set for myself. Did I achieve those things? Whether or not I'm content. That's a big one. Like, am I content this year? Am I content with how I'm ending? So for me, 2023 tends to be, or the end of any year, tends to be my moment where I reflect on my whether or nots. And the outcome to each whether or not hinges on time. What did I do with my time? How did I spend my time? If you're not careful, you'll find yourself so discontent with your life and so resentful towards people for not giving you your time, for not giving you a shot, for not giving you a chance, for not giving you an opportunity, for not giving you your moment. The only person that holds you back from growth and progress in your life is you. Like, you can't wait for someone to give you permission. You have to believe that you matter enough to God for him to have designed you with purpose. Now, I know in essence, we will all agree that I know God made me with a plan and a purpose. I know we say that, but there are times where we're in certain ruts in our lives. And in those moments, in those dry seasons, in those seasons where maybe you feel insignificant and ain't nothing happening for you, you have to basically believe that you matter to God and that he made you with a purpose. This year has by far probably been some of the most difficult battles that I've ever fought. But I still look back on this year and say, man, it's been such a good year. It's been such a good year. Like, I've grown in my walk with the Lord. I've grown in my faith in him. And not one of those sexy faith that's like, man, your faith and strides just grabbed everyone's attention and man, this happened. No, not that kind of faith. Just that small, still faith, that mustard seed faith that only you can really see. Like, I feel like I've grown in my faith, in my stance with the Lord, in my posture with the Lord. I feel like I've grown as an individual through probably one of the toughest years of my life. I remember it was probably like 2001, going to a new church in Lakeland, Florida. And I remember this thought. I have no idea where it came from, if someone said it before or what. But I remember from that season on, in 2001, always kind of falling back to this statement that when pain is present, growth is around the corner. And that rings so true this year for me, that with the pain that was present, the discomfort, the challenges, the growth was right there around the corner if I just hung on, if I just trusted, if I just believed God to do what only God can do. Like the fact that I started a podcast, something that I think naturally makes me, uncomfortable. I hate feeling like I'm just following what's out there, another trend, and everyone's doing it, and now you're doing it, of course. Or I hate feeling like I'm trying to make a name for myself. Like I'm not whatsoever. Like I don't have that desire, but I do have a desire to feel like I'm making a difference, that I'm contributing something to the kingdom. So the fact that I got out of my head and I moved past that, and I just said, you know what? All right. I said I was going to do this 4 years ago. This time I'm going to do it, and we'll see where it goes. Like I am grateful for that journey. I am grateful for just taking those steps and just seeing where this thing will go. So looking back on this past year, how did you spend your time? Some people, they can't wait for that time of the year because they love to just pull out that new notebook and new goals and so forth, while other people, they dread this time because they don't want to look at what they have or have not done and so forth. And this isn't one of those moments where we're trying to guilt trip nobody. But I want you to just ask yourself, looking back on this past year, how did you spend your time? Because it is important for you to be able to assess how you spent your time. It's like someone asking you the question, how did you spend your money this year? Like, how well were you at budgeting your finances? How well did you, make your money last? And how far did you make the money stretch? Like, if you don't record any of that kind of stuff and you don't budget in any way, it's hard for you to really give an account for how you stewarded your money. The same thing with time. It's hard to really assess and weigh out how you manage your time if there's no real strategy for your time. So I want to challenge you with a thought that I'm challenging myself with. So moving forward, instead of assessing how you spent your time or how you will spend your time, consider how you will invest your time. Time determines your outcome. So rather than asking yourself, how will you spend your time? Ask yourself, how will you invest your time? How will you invest your time? The word invest implies a return. So when someone invests, they do so with an outcome, a result, or a return in mind. So again, how will you invest your time? Who will you invest in? Like, don't wait for tomorrow, because tomorrow's not even promised to you. Don't wait for the new year for the ball to drop to say, now it's going to be a clean slate and now I'm going to do all this. Don't set yourself up like that. Start now. Start today, in this moment. You got 24 hours in each day. How will you invest your time? You see, the older I get, the more I understand that life is truly a journey and not a destination. When I was younger, I was very zealous to want to reach certain mile markers. But I think sometimes you miss out on all the things that you were doing to get there, that you didn't really enjoy what was going on around you. You were tunnel vision, and you were so focused on making this or leading this or buying this or getting there that you neglected the full journey experience. Man, for all I know, man, I think heaven needs to be my only destination that I'm looking towards. Everything else is a journey. My life is a journey full of good times, bad times, ups and downs. And I want to make the most of my journey. Like the Bible makes clear, we're not of this world. So how I live and how you live matters. The way we live ought to be different. People ought to be coming up to us and saying, bro, why did you make that decision when you could have done this? Why did you go there? You could have made so much more money there. It would have been so much easier to do this. It would have been so much faster to do this if you just would have, rather than trusting God, taking steps of faith. It may not be the most conventional, but it's what God impressed on your heart, and you take that route. May our lives be lived in such a way where people want to know the inspiration behind the why in our lives. So again, when it comes to time, like you have to learn how to be a steward of your time and to know how your time is being spent. And again, changing that one word from how will I spend my time this year to how will I invest my time, it paints two different pictures. When I think about investing my time, I think about the fact that it's so priceless and so precious that it can bring about a return. When you spend something, you might find some type of return you can get, but it's not the same like an investment. Your time is so precious. Don't just spend it. Figure out how you can invest it, who you could invest it in hopes of a great return, and in hopes of just a crazy story to share with other people of God's goodness. Because again, you've been called for his glory. You and I, we've been called to be salt and light in this world. So our objective is to do just that. Bring light, bring salt, bring hope, bring love to others. So be intentional about the time that you have, because again, your time determines your outcome. So as season 1 comes to an end, first of all, I just want to say thank you to everyone that's just been rolling with us. I've gotten so many just texts, especially that first week when we launched the podcast. Like, so many people were texting me, telling me how much they enjoyed it, how much they loved it. I had a buddy of mine. I mean, he was literally in tears sharing just how he could feel God's anointing in the podcast, and that he's at work, literally grabbing material, and he's like crying in the aisle at a store because he just sensed the presence of God. Like, those aren't things that I brag about or I boast in, but those are things that I just feel honored by. So when I hear stories like the one my friend shared with me, like, I'm just honored by the thought that God would use me in just an episode of a podcast to reach out to someone that I knew. And again, the feedback I got time and time again was so encouraging. So just thank you for all of y'all that have subscribed and followed us and have given me encouraging words about the episodes and what we're doing here. Man, thank you, because again, it just it was very fulfilling for me and satisfying to be in this season right now doing this podcast and seeing where God takes me from here. So the journey has been pretty cool, pretty dope, seeing how things play out, seeing how episodes came together. Like I had half the times I had no idea who was going to be on till like a day or two before. And I had an idea of someone came to my mind and I was like, yo, you down to join us? And it was cool. And then walking away from that episode, like we had such a dope time, cool experience, great convo. I was just encouraged and blessed by this whole season. So I'm very happy for just the way things are coming together. My hope is that you were in some way or form encouraged and inspired by this first season, because we've only just begun. So if you haven't yet, I never say it, like us and follow us on YouTube and Spotify right now. Those are the platforms we use. Put somebody else onto this channel, send it to a friend, let them know what it's all about. Season 2 will kick off in January 2024, so stay tuned. We'll make sure to drop out some posts letting y'all know it's coming in soon. So from my family to yours, I just want to wish y'all a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. And like always, dream the dreams that God has placed inside of you, live the life that He has called you to, and love the way He loves you. Grace and peace.